There we go.
Hi,
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Before we get started, I want to just make sure I'm saying your name right, Mikaila.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, where do I want to start? Because I think that I think first of all, I think that you're super dope because here's the main thing. You have taken your popularity and all your training, right? And it wasn't just because you got popular and you know that you're doing what you're doing. You're actually using your popularity to bring attention to dancers getting their correct pay and different things like that. You're actually using your dance and your skill set to drive home different purposes that that you're passionate about. So I want to dive into that side of you and start off from when I saw that you were training since you were 3. So you've been technically trained, and that's a lot of discipline from a young age. So let's go back into the journey, and then we'll catch everybody up to speed.
Okay. So I actually started dance because of my grandpa. Both my parents worked, so he used to babysit me. And I remember this so vividly. I was like 2 years old, and we would watch Shirley Temple together. And I really specifically remember Bojangles' tap scene, and then the animal crackers in my soup. And me and my grandpa would just hold hands and like kind of ring around the rosy and dance around together. And I just fell in love with dance, and I wanted to be a tapper because of the Bojangles scene.
Hmm.
Had to tap around, and I remember him telling my mom that she could get me into dancing. So I took my first tap class when I was 3 years old, and oh my gosh, my cat is so crazy. Just got a kitten a couple months ago. But yeah, I got into my first tap class when I was 3 years old, and I just fell in love with it and started taking so many different styles like from that point forward.
Now, of course, when you're young, the essence of dance, yeah, it's fun and it's a lot of energy, right? But how did that discipline feel for you, being so young in that structure? How did that make you feel?
Honestly, I loved it. I didn't even think of it necessarily as discipline. I was always super focused as a kid because I loved dance. Like something about it, like I just knew I was going to be doing it my whole life. So I took it super seriously. And something crazy that actually happened to me. I was at a dance studio and they would do like one little tap routine and they would do the same routine with like all their young tappers and there'd be like 3 different recitals. So like the class that was on Saturdays would perform at the first recital. The class on Monday nights would perform at the next recital. You know what I'm saying? They actually had me lead all 3 classes on stage at recital so that the other kids could like watch someone. And that was just like a cool opportunity for me because I was just this little girl, but I was so focused in class that they wanted like the other kids to be able to look at that. And I'll never forget that moment because that was when I was like, oh, whoa, like people see that I work hard.
Understood. I completely understand. Speaking of moments, what was the moment for you where it's like, okay, I want to become a professional? When did you see that happening for you?
Probably when I started competing. I was 9 years old when I first started competing. I did a tap solo and I was horrible. I remember I walked on stage, I literally got a silver and I was like, I love this. I want to do this forever.
Okay. And did you seek out any like mentorship or any inspirations as you were on that journey?
My mentors actually came late in my dance career.
Okay.
I have the best experiences with teachers and stuff as a kid. Like it was actually very traumatic. But as I got older, I took my first heels class, I think when I was 18 in the Detroit community with Tiffany Renee. And she became my dance mom. And she's the reason I got into like dancing and just being more feminine. So I have her to thank, honestly, for a lot of my career because if I wouldn't have taken that heels class, I wouldn't have fallen in love with like the sexier lines as like a woman dancer. And then when I got to college, I went to a small private school for dance. It was like across the street from my house. I never moved, and it was specifically for this one teacher. His name was Stephen Hadala. I hated ballet. It was not my thing, but waking up at 9 a.m. having to take ballet every day with him was like amazing. Like I loved it so much, and I was like, if I'm going to be a dance major and I have to take ballet every day, I have to go to Madonna University for him. And this man, it's like we shared a brain. Like we were both just like two dummies, you know, like we would joke all day. We were always laughing in class, and he just made it super fun. And he actually helped me find a love for ballet, and like I got way better technically, but sadly, after my second year with him, he passed away right after Christmas, and he was just a
Wow.
really big piece of my dance career. So after he passed away, well, he was actually around like when I started my TikTok journey, and he would always joke around. He's like, "I want to be your manager. Come to me if you need stuff." Ha ha ha. But then he passed away right before COVID. And then I was like, yeah, I don't belong at this school anymore because I was just heartbroken, you know. 'Cause,
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand.
so
And condolences to you for that.
thank you.
Um, so with everything that you experienced in terms of your training and everything, right? You also you've gotten to see what it's like to pursue like the dance career. Like you have all this training and you feel you're just as good as everybody else, but as we know, the industry doesn't really care about those things. You know, you got to move and shake and get in where you fit in. So tell me a little bit about that part of the journey for you, and how was that part of the journey for you?
Honestly, I feel so fortunate that I have social media because I would not have liked this industry at all. I feel like it doesn't matter how much training you have, you will always kind of be taken advantage of in a way. And it doesn't matter how talented you are or how much hard work you put in, it's all about who you know and the networking you have. So, being out here, I have this crazy big platform, so I don't even necessarily have to like audition for stuff anymore. I can get direct booked, and I was offered, I didn't have to sign contracts for any of these, so I can like name drop. I was offered to be in Roddy Ricch's music video. Saweetie and DaBaby had a tapped in remix music video, and they were literally like 3+ days of rehearsals, 12-hour shoot days, and they were offering to pay me like $150, which is below wage even if you wanted to work at like Target. So like why as a professional am I being hired to be in these super famous celebrities music videos that clearly have a budget to pay us? They're just choosing not to. And we're not getting paid. Like I trained since I was 3 years old, just like anybody does. It's the same as like if you went to school to be a doctor and they're like, oh, we're not going to pay you to do this surgery. We'll give you like $100. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
that was definitely saddening for me when I came out here because, like I said, I'm fortunate enough where dance is more for fun for me now. I don't have to look at it as like I have to get this job, otherwise I'm not going to eat tomorrow because I make my money off social media. But my heart goes out to all the dancers that genuinely are just specifically dancers that aren't getting paid because dance and social media are two completely different things. Not everyone wants to be a social media influencer. Some dancers just strictly want to dance because social media is a whole different game. Like it's hard, it's not for everyone, it's not easy. So for those,
explain that to me, because I think that that's kind of where we are now, where um you have reality, and then you actually have the reality of social media. And certain people, like, they in reality, they see what's going on social media and they kind of wish that they could tap into it, but like you said, it's not for everybody. What advice would you give the dancers that do want to tap in to the social media side, or even just try to exist in both? What do you suggest?
my number one piece of advice is dancers are perfectionists. And I had to learn real quick that if I want to succeed as an influencer, you have to like get rid of that. You know, you're not going to be perfect every single time. It's impossible. So throw that away and just put your work out there. Even if you hate it, people are going to love it because you're your own worst critic. So like there's so many pieces of work I put out and I'm like, wow, this is awful. I post it and it'll be like my best performing pieces. So just kind of let go of this idea of having to be perfect and posting like great, perfect work every time and just post what you want to post. Don't worry about haters because honestly, if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. And there's always going to be haters everywhere. And something that I've learned throughout this social media journey is typically the ones that are hating are like in a really dark place themselves. So you just got to pray for them and like wish them well and carry on with what you're doing. And that's pretty much my biggest piece of advice.
Understood. Now, what makes you apply everything that you're doing and to highlighting different purposes that need to have the light shined on them? Like, what inspires you to do that? What made you do that?
Um, Honestly, I feel like I'm just inspired by like my fan base in general. When I started like posting on social media, it was actually for me. I was in like a really insecure point in my life and I didn't really have confidence and I started the whole journey so that I could find confidence and self-love in myself. And it was kind of to hold myself accountable because if I'm like posting stuff every day, you know, like you kind of have to like follow up with it. And then as I started doing that, I started getting DMs like every single day from like young girls and boys actually, and they're like, we love what you're doing. Like, you're helping us love our natural selves and so forth. And I was like, wow, like, if I'm really able to do this for myself and I'm helping like all these people along the way, then like, it's so purposeful. Like, I'm really out here able to inspire all these young people. And it's just amazing to see. So that's what keeps me going every day, too, because I'm like, wow, like, I can inspire all these people. It's so cool.
Understood. And how did the pandemic affect you?
So the pandemic was actually a huge blessing in disguise for me. Obviously, it was like horrible because family members were getting sick and like everyone around me was just like, you know, it was bad. But career wise, it opened up so many doors for me because, you know, I was in college at the time and I did not like being in school. I loved the dance program. The dance program there was amazing, but I was just really bored because, like I said, the school was across the street from my house. I never got to move out. It was basically just like a 9 to 5 with school. And there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, but for me, like I just wanted to get out and see the world. And I was like, I don't want to already be living this so young, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my first 2 years of school, it was kind of me trying to navigate how I was going to get out without graduating because I was like, I don't want to do this. My dream was to go to LA and travel and just become a professional dancer, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
when COVID hit, you know, all the classes were transferring to online learning, but as a dancer, you can't just take online Zoom dance classes. So it took them like an extra 3 to 4 weeks to figure out how they were going to have us learn how to dance online. So within those extra 3 to 4 weeks, I was able to focus full time on social media. And where it took me a whole year to like hit 1 million on TikTok, within the 3 to 4 weeks, I hit another million. And I got my
Wow.
first 2 brand deals. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, if I focus full time on social media, then I can really make this a career. So I got my first 2 brand deals, and it was kind of enough for me to really start putting money aside to travel back and forth. So I was
Mm-hmm.
talk to my parents, and I have the most supportive family in the world. I am so blessed. I love my family. I can't say anything greater about them. Like they're just amazing. I walked into my parents' room and I was kind of nervous, specifically for my dad's reaction because my dad is like a very hard worker with like a job, you know, he's very like grind mode all the time. My mom, she's very like, you know, I know she's gonna dance, whatever. So I was kind of more nervous about my dad. I walked into the room and I was like, I think I'm gonna drop out of school. And my mom was like, yeah, I know you are. And I was like, what? She's like, I knew you weren't gonna make it past 2 years. And my dad's like, yeah, do it. And I was like, okay, word. So I remember calling my professor, you know, she kind of gave me like a response that kind of upset me. She was like, you aren't going to be successful without a degree. You really need to go to school. I don't know why you're doing this. It's a big mistake. And I was like, but it's not though. Like, you know, TikTok almost got banned. Social media could go at any day. Like, I need to take these opportunities while I have them. And college is always there. Any state, any corner you turn, there's a college. You can take it on your laptop. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I was making a mistake. And I just, you know, you have to take risks in life. That's something I'm big on because if you don't take risks, then you're never going to know. And I would rather take
Yeah.
risk and fail than to never know because you can always pick yourself back up, you know? Whereas if you don't take risks, you won't even know if you have the chance to excel in that. So I was like, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm dropping out. And I did. I came out to LA last September and I just had the intentions that I was going to be traveling back and forth like probably every 1 to 2 months. And I met this guy named Dominic, and he was like, no, you're going to regret that. You need to move to LA because opportunities have to up and you're going to miss everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm from for those of you that don't know. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna move. I went home, and I can't even make this up. The next day, he's like, yeah, you just missed out on like a really big collab. It was with Brent Rivera, and he's like an OG Viner. And I was like, no way! Like, I can't believe I'm missing that. Like, I should be there right now. So I looked at my mom. I was like, I'm moving, and she's like, okay, you're moving. I talked to my dad. He's like, okay, I'm moving. So I got a U-Haul truck and filled it all up within 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks to figure this out. I drove all the way across country with my best friend and my ex and
Wow.
you know, moved. And then I went home for like 3 to 4 months because I was in a content house and it just like didn't work out because they didn't tell me that they were getting evicted. So I moved into this house with them as they were in the process of getting evicted. So I moved like everything and then I had to put all my stuff in storage. And then I went home for a couple months to like figure out where I was actually going to go. And then I moved into my own place in July and I've been here ever since. I'm in like Hollywood area. And that was all like of the pandemic. So I literally started
Wow.
a whole new career and moved across country and met so many new people. So definitely opened up.
Wow. So that was a whole big life change, you know, during the pandemic like that. And that's crazy to, you know, to experience that. Now, after pretty much surviving that, right? So now we're in the present. Where do you see dance going and where do you see yourself going with it moving into 2022 now?
Honestly, I feel like dance, what I see myself doing with it, I want to be an advocate for other dancers. I want to speak on the industry. Um, I know there's like a lot of dark stuff in the dance world that I'm not even sure a lot of people are aware of. Like there's a lot of like sexual assault going on because there's a lot of like higher ups that are like, "Oh, if you do this for me or with me, then I'll book you this job." And that's just wrong. And I feel like that just goes for entertainment as a whole. And I
Most definitely.
there's a lot of exposing going on right now, which I'm like proud of, but I feel like there's still a lot of things that need to be brought to light, and I feel like it's going to happen. But for me personally, I want to bring awareness to the whole like pay problem. So I feel like for me, it's just going to be, I don't think I'm going to necessarily be like in the dance scene dancing. I feel like I'm going to be in the dance scene like, hey, because well, I can't even talk about this yet. I have to wait till February, but there's going to be some big news in February. I almost just exposed the secret. I'm doing stuff right now that I'm really excited. So I almost just slipped.
What came before we get out of here? What can you talk about that you're looking forward
Um,
to for next year?
all I'm going to say is I've been in the studio a lot. I'm not going to say specifically what kind of studio. People can kind of use their imagination and figure that out. But I'm about to drop some cool stuff in February, February 2nd, to be specific.
Okay.
And
Okay, well, I appreciate you.
dance is involved.
Okay, so you're doing like a maybe a dance artist type thing?
Dance artist type thing. Yes.
Bringing the best of both. No, I like that. I like the empowerment of that. Taking things into your own hands, doing everything for yourself. Because like you said, it's a lot of weird shit that goes along in the industry. So it's just like the more you could do for yourself, the better. The more you could do with your friends and your family and your associates, the better. That you're being better off doing it on your own and building up your own people and your own support system. So I definitely support that and look forward to that. And I definitely want to take the time to say thank you to you for giving me your time. I
Of
appreciate
course.
that. I value, your time, and I value what you're doing, because it's not, I see everybody in terms of dance, and it's not many that actually when they blow up or they get the social media fame, very rarely do any of them talk about anything purposeful or even want to do anything purposeful. They just want to exist in their popularity. So when I saw your bio and I saw those different things about the different purposes you were trying to bring light to, I said, they're leading with that. She's showing the popularity stuff, but they're also leading with the fact that she's using that to do something purposeful with it. And I just think that that's super dope. You know what I mean? And I hope that people see this and can also try to mimic that. Like, yeah, get popular and make a difference, not get popular and just say, hey, look at me.
Yeah, for sure. It's always been my dream to be able to like help people. I was actually, this has nothing to do with dance. It's just like my personal life. I'm very inspired by Mr. Beast. Do you know who he is? The YouTuber.
No, who's that?
He's just this massive YouTuber and he's a multi-millionaire and all he does is massive giveaways for people. It's the dopest thing ever. Honestly,
Wow.
I look him up. He's really awesome. So I've always wanted to be like, I don't think I'll ever be at the level he is because he's just insane, but I've always wanted to, even if I can be like a little piece of what he does, then I know I'll make like a huge difference. So as a kid, I was always like, I want to like help people. And I feel like dance is,
Understood.
and so I'd love to start with the dance community.
No, that's great. And you should keep that up and don't let anybody deter you from doing that. A lot of people are gonna try to throw you off your purpose and throw you off course because you are trying to be about something. They're just gonna want you to dance or whatever, and that's you're more than that. We are, as humans, we're more than that, and we have more to offer. So that's my advice to you. Just stay the course, stay focused, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your time. We'll be in
Of course.
contact.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was so awesome.
Appreciate you. Later.
See ya. Have a good one.
Peace.